Hey guys, welcome back to Rage of the Titans. So we're going to play episode 5. A series of coincidences form a consistent pattern. Coincidences form a consistent pattern. Okay, so are we finally going to start to see some sort of sense of all the information that we've been getting? Because so far it's just kind of been rah, rah, rah. I'm also aware that I missed a divinity/humanity point when you're supposed to like pick how you feel about the decorations, but 1 point shouldn't be that bad. If I need it later, I'll go back and get it. But I mean, at least it's not an influence point. I feel like I don't want to miss any of those, for sure. So let's go ahead and continue onward. And so we've seen the modern day Persephone down here. So that also brings up a whole slew of new questions. Chapter 5, new leads. Melody, been a while. Been a while. I turned around, but I could barely recognize the woman standing behind my back. It's me, Corey. Do you remember me? It took me a while to focus and realize where I was. I was standing in the middle of a hallway, but the weird whispering was gone. Yes, sure, you're Adrian's mom. Miss Newman? Wait, Miss Newman's mom is Persephone? Stepmother. She gave me a big smile. Wait, does that mean his mother is Hades? The hair makes sense. Because he has a little weird, like, gray streak, just like his mom. She gave me a big smile, lowering her hands from my shoulders. Her touch gave me shivers. It was an uncharacteristically commanding gesture for such a fragile woman. Look, you're not supposed to be here. Let's go upstairs. But what about... I know you came with Marshall. I think you'd want to speak to him and Hades. How does she know that? She came in closer, hugged my shoulders, and gave me a slight push towards the exit. I turned around, staring at the suspicious door. But this whisper... What whisper? Her fingers dug harder into my shoulder. It's a technical floor. You couldn't possibly hear any whispers. Unless through the vents, but I doubt that. Not even the staff goes down here. The staff? Vents? But I couldn't have just imagined it. She clearly wants me to go away and drop the subject. Okay, well, what we're not going to do is tell her I was hearing things. Even though we already told her that, so... But... Lie to her or stand my ground? Shit. Okay. We're talking to an actual goddess here. I want to stand my ground. However, we're talking to an actual goddess here who's always shown a surprising amount of strength. And we don't have any access to any powers that we might have. So we tried lying. But as I discussed last time, lying might seem uncharacteristic. But what was uncharacteristic with the lie for her was that her showing being emotional all of a sudden. To try lying. I don't know what kind of lie she's going to come up with, though. Somebody should lie. Oh, no. Maybe I should stood my ground. Dang. So being forceful all the time is... You know, I got lost. I was looking for a way out, and I stumbled upon this hallway. Next one to the club is upstairs, and you know that. That was a terrible lie. You changed everything here. Besides, I think I've had too much of your cocktails. Suddenly, Corey laughed. I see. That explains everything. We do have good cocktails here. Did you drink the one with the flower? Yeah, that one. Fledge. Oh, I can't pronounce it right now. There's no need. I know the one you're talking about. She smiled again, but this time her smile was serene. Like she wasn't worried about me being on this floor anymore. Okay. You managed to convince Corey. Then what would you have done the other way? I should do it. If I told her again about the strange whisper, she'd think I was crazy for sure. Well, yeah, I wasn't going to do that, but I was thinking about standing my ground. I see. Let's go. I think Hades and Marshall won't mind you joining their conversation. But still, how does she know I came with Marshall? Murphy couldn't have told her. Or did he? That would be great. I haven't seen Miss Newman in a while. Corey nudged me towards the exit again, and we made our way to Hades' office. Wait. Does she know her name is Hades? Because didn't Corey just call her Hades? I don't think Hades and Marshall will mind you joining the conversation. And then she said, I haven't seen Miss Newman in a while. Am I supposed to know that she... I'm sorry. They're throwing me the fuck off with this. A few flight of stairs later, Corey opened a massive door before us, letting me go forward. Went to the office, but no one noticed us. Right in the middle of the room, there was Marshall and Hades. They clearly weren't in the best of moods. Why didn't you stop us? Why did you leave us behind? I was protecting you. If you were, none of that would have happened. Corey coughed loudly to attract their attention. As soon as the arguing pair noticed us, they fell silent immediately. Hades straightened up, and Marshall gave me a very strange look, as though he was looking frighteningly at a completely different person. What's the matter with him? Why is he looking at me like that? It's... Marshall, we have already discussed everything. Looked back at her and clenched his fist involuntarily. To hell with this. He rushed to the exit. But... I guess I can leave. I ain't got nothing to do with me. I don't know if trying to stop him was the best idea. He seems obviously agitated, and either he's not willing to say anything, or she won't let him say anything right now anyway. So I'm not sure what good trying to stop him is going to do. So I'm probably just going to let him leave. I mean, what the hell am I supposed to do? All right, bye. Took several steps aside, allowing him to leave. As soon as Marshall walked out the door, the air got less tense. Hades returned to her table slowly. Okay, so they are interchangeably using Hades and Miss Newman. Nobody thinks it's weird that her name is Hades? She didn't bother to change her name? Persephone decided to change hers. Corey approached her and tenderly put her hand on Hades' shoulder. What the hell is going on here? That's what I would like to know. Like, seriously. Like, what the hell? It's all just insane. Hayes looked at me as if she could read my thoughts. We're such a sensitive subject for him. Don't worry. He'll be fine. But why? How did you even come to this? He was supposed to talk with you about my missing brother. I don't understand a thing. Fatigue, intoxication, and vexation mixed into one emotion that I couldn't comprehend, as my feelings were tearing me apart. I think you have something to discuss. Of course. We'll talk in the car. I'll take you home. No, I want explanations right here and right now. Everything will be explained as soon as we get into the car. And now, please stop acting like a child. I'm the one acting like a child. Like, that gets on my nerves, okay? Just because someone's younger than you and they're standing up for themselves and not just let you trample all over them, it doesn't mean that they're acting like a child. Like, stop dodging my fucking questions. Like, anybody would get pissed about that. Not just children. Like, that doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, I'm pissed about that. I'm 30 years old. Okay? Like, this will be me. Like, you drug me around all night. I've been here for 2 fucking hours, and there's some club I didn't want to come to in the first place. I don't like crowds. Okay? And then you still, dragging me. Now you driving me home somewhere. Like, I didn't ask you to drive me nowhere. I came here for answers. And you give them to me or you don't. And then, other than that, we ain't got no shit else to talk about, apparently. But so you go sit here and berate me. Seriously? Her voice was too imperative. I really felt like a little child who was in trouble with the adults. You really shouldn't. A strange feeling of guilt absorbed me. Okay. Wonderful. Corey, can you look after the club? Whatever, bitch. Of course, don't worry. Corey gave Hades a soft kiss on her cheek, and we headed towards the exit. You know what? I should have shoved Persephone down on the floor. I should have ruined their relationship. I tried to be nice, but I already hate Hades. I'm just gonna be honest. I hate people who do that. A few minutes later, the car was already on the main street, going towards the Neiman's house. Hayes was watching the road silently. She clearly didn't want to start the conversation, so I had to take on the initiative. Sorry, I know I'm talking fast. Okay, came to talk about Tom. First, about how he should be grateful I didn't kick him out of the club. He smashed the face of my partner's son during our business meeting. Usually I don't forgive something like that, but as far as I'm aware, he was protecting Ramona. I didn't say the guy didn't get what he deserved. Just justice is fragile. Not everything needs a heads-on approach. She gave me a pensive gaze, but I saw fire in her eyes. Somehow it frightened me. So what were you talking about? When we were done discussing about the fight, Tom told me a strange thing. He said someone was following him. And then? He started getting nervous. I tried to assure him he was overthinking. And then he lost it, ran out of my office. End of story. End of story? But what about... I stared at the floor, disappointed. My hopes of getting close to solving the mystery of my missing brother was getting thinner by the second. That's another thing. End of story, as if she's done to asking questions about it. Like, no. No, you're not. You're done when I decided you don't have any more information. Like, what the hell? You were the last person to see my brother alive. That is significant. You can't just go and brush that off as if that doesn't mean anything. I'm sorry. But it does. Okay? And you're like, Jesus. Like, what was he even doing there? How about we answer that question? We can start from there. Like, let me, end of story. As Hayes knows the state I was in, she added, if you need my help, all you have to do is ask. I've been trying to ask. You're not answering the questions. It's just end of story. Vaguely answering. You know what? We must understand every decision has consequences. Of course. Marshall and I have known each other for a very long time. We have history. Other than the one where you use his auto repair shop. Besides that, so what's the history? Happened a long time ago. A chain of wrong decisions led to our family splitting apart. And many people suffered because of that. Suffered? How? Hades bit her lip as if she was regretting her words. Why is she talking about it as though something truly horrible happened then? How come the more I talk to her, the more she opens up and the more questions I have? Doesn't matter how. What matters is that some people still can't let it go. And Marshall's one of them. I wish I could help him somehow. I think you'll get the opportunity soon enough. Never mind, I think everything will fall into place eventually. Hayes gave me a skeptical look, then turned back to the road. What door? In the hallway on the lower floor. Corey said it was the storage room. Why are you asking? Hayes took her time to answer my questions. Somehow I couldn't read her emotions. How do I ask her so that she doesn't suspect a thing? It's silly to ask about some door, but what if I wasn't hearing things? I got lost in the hallways and it seemed to me that someone was behind that door. I tried to open it, but it was locked. Why? Melody, I don't know what you imagine, but it's absolutely a normal door. Besides, all the doors there are locked. It's not groundbreaking. Hayes turned the corner and drove out to another street, changing lanes to the central one. It's just a storage room. We haven't used that in ages. The answer did not satisfy my curiosity in the slightest. We kept driving in silence. By the way, that reminds me. Your brother mentioned some Shane. I don't know if that can help you. Shane? I think that's one of his friends. I hope so. I produced my phone in my pocket and looked through my contact list. There was no Shane there, and it was too late to call anyone anyway. Try to find his contacts in the morning. Maybe I'll manage to learn something. Oh, how exactly are you trying to find his contacts? Did you mean go back to your apartment? Can I do that? Can I go home now? I kept driving through the city, and I felt I was starting to fall asleep. Don't fall asleep here. Please don't. Please try not to. Oh god. So tired, sleep deprived, I closed my eyes just for a moment. The soft roaring in the engine was lulling me to sleep, but my thoughts wouldn't let me. Please stay awake. I don't trust this woman at all. When I opened my eyes, we were already out of the city. I turned and looked at Hades' face. She was watching the road and smiling. You've changed. Is it because Corey is back? Is it so obvious? She laughed quietly. Hades is rarely seen like this, calm and relaxed. Normally she is swamped with work, spending all her time at the club. Almost no one knew what she was like among family. So strange. I used to be afraid of Hades, but when Adrian introduced me to her, she turned out to be really kind. All this time I tried to avoid her. I was afraid of her reaction. It seemed that even after Adrian and I broke up, her attitude towards me hasn't changed. It stopped making me feel a little more comfortable. I shifted on my seat, turning to look at her face. For a short second, Hades looked at me, turning away from the road, and smiled more broadly. Why was Corey gone for so long? She likes traveling, learning something new, talking to new people. Besides, it's part of her job. I wish I could get paid like that, traveling around the world. I smirked, dreaming about my future. Strange airiness in my head was preventing me from focusing. But it's not just that, isn't it? How are you so sure? I noticed that she got more tense, but I tried to pretend that I didn't. Hades fixed away from the mirror and forwarded to pass a barely dragging pickup. I don't know how to explain it, but no way you've changed so much just because she's back. What do you mean by so much? You look happy. She laughed, never taking her eyes off the road. Yeah, you're right about that. How did you two start dating? Do you really want to hear about it? I guess. Hades laughed and picked up speed. Another business meeting. We were walking through the garden as I spotted Corey. At that moment, I swear she didn't even have to do anything. She was standing there with an armful of wildflowers, humming something to herself, and my world turned upside down. Love at first sight? Yes, I guess that's how it's called these days. Hades glanced at me and gave me a pat on my shoulder. I didn't know how to approach her. I started visiting them more often. At first it was business meetings, and then I would visit almost every day. Soon enough, her mother realized my intentions. She wasn't happy about that? Oh, for sure. If only you saw how angry she was. She almost trashed the entire house, but it was already too late. Who's Persephone's mother? I think I have an idea of what the person she's trying to say. Is it? I don't know how to pronounce it. That's what I thought. I don't know. I still don't know how to pronounce it. It's Demeter, the goddess of agriculture. Wait, why does it say that she was the wife of Hades, king of the underworld? Wait. Hold on. You know what? I'm not even on. Let's not even talk about that. Okay. What do you mean? When she learned about it, I had already struck a deal with Corey's father and took her to my place. A deal? I guess my expression was too surprised, so Hades had to explain. Corey's promised to me, and her father couldn't break the promise. How did Corey react to that? Hades hesitated for a moment. I could tell she was trying to find words. For a while, we were driving in silence, but then she spoke up. I'm afraid you might misunderstand me. I want to explain something to you. Corey's the first person to look at me without hatred. And then you stole her from her home? It was selfish of me to just take her from her parents' house just like that. She was the only one who didn't see in me. She fell silent again. I felt this conversation was getting heavier by the moment. Hades squeezed the will as if she was afraid to speak, but still she continued. I didn't see what in you. My father. She said it with such disgust that I felt uneasy. But he was horrible, truly horrible, and I was his spitting image. His eyes, his hair, his manner of walking and speaking, the same height and voice quality. I was his living replica, terrifying everyone who ever knew him or heard of him. Who would want to be with someone so like the most terrible creature in the world? So I did everything I could be to be different from him. But it wasn't enough. No. The harder I fought, the more I was like him, and eventually, I just gave up. I'm so sorry. You shouldn't be. Suddenly, she straightened her back and turned very serious. After all, that doesn't concern you. I'll have to deal with some things on my own. Hayes is starting to keep an eye on you. What does that mean? Out of the corner of my eye, I noticed her squeezing the wheel again, making its leather squeak pitifully. After a while, we drove into the city again, right next to the new Mrs. House. So I can't go home. So how am I getting these contacts again? Adrian was already waiting for us by the entrance. Finally, are you alright? Murphy called me and said that back in the club. It's fine. Mill's just a bit tired. Actually, so am I. Adrian approached me and put his hands on my shoulders. It seemed like the whole weight of the world was pushing down on me at that moment. My eyes were closing on their own, demanding some sleep. Rest up. Tomorrow's a new day. Hayes returned to the car and drove into the garage, and Adrian and I walked into the house. Let's go. I'll take you to your room. I walked in and immediately sat on the edge of the bed. Hey, look at me. Are you alright? I politely stayed silent as I wasn't sure how best to answer. The conversation in the car left a strange feeling in my soul. Adrian put the stuff I didn't need into the closet and sat down next to me. You need to sleep. You've been running around for 2 days now without proper sleep. I knew it had been 2 days! I know, it's just... everything is so weird. Sometimes I feel like I'm stuck in another world. As though I'm playing a part of someone I am not. You know what I mean? You're trying to meet other people's expectations. Being a good sister, loving daughter, and a good friend. Loving daughter? What? I don't even know what my parents are. I thought they died. I rolled my eyes and covered my face with my hands. Adrian sighed and moved a bit closer. And I'm failing. I don't know what influenced my thoughts the most, the general fatigue or the alcohol, but eventually I just couldn't hold myself in check. I wanted to hear that everything will be fine. I wanted someone to calm me down and promise me that everything will be okay eventually. Look, I get it. Things are tough for you right now. We're in this age where everyone expects so much from us. Our diplomas, careers, personal lives, and your brother is missing. Honestly, I don't even know how you're holding on. I don't even know who I am. I don't even know how to react to all this. I'm confused and tired. Sometimes I feel like I'm just not good. Not good enough? Not smart enough? Not enough this, not enough that. People will always judge you for looking differently, talking differently, or reacting differently. But that doesn't mean something is wrong with you. Is there? No. Never listen to what other people have to say. They judge you by their own demons. But You're wonderful, Melody. You're kind, sympathetic, incredibly smart. You're the person who always fights for justice and protects her loved ones at all cost. I didn't fall in love with you for your looks. I fell in love with you because of who you are. And it pains me to see you doubting yourself. He sighed again and gave me a pat on my shoulder. He rose from the bed slowly and walked up to the light switch. You need some sleep. You'll feel better in the morning, I promise. Are you leaving? I'll be in the room across the hallway, don't worry. But I don't want to stay alone. The problem is, I know she's tired, but we seriously need to talk about why he didn't tell me that he saw my brother almost nearly right before he disappeared. And that whole fight scene at the club. Like, that's significant. If he's gone missing, and it would potentially be one of the business partners because he got into a fight with somebody of seeming importance and coming from money and influence, then that's something to mention. At least to me. Like, I don't know if he mentioned it to a writer or a detective guy, but somehow I doubt it. And she was just questioning that earlier. So I would like the opportunity to be able to ask that. So, but I know if I click this, they're not going to talk about that. It's just going to be a romantic scene, which is slightly annoying. Like, I feel like I'm more invested into the mystery of the story than the characters are. And that annoys me a bit. Like, okay. Adrian, wait. He turned around, stopping at the threshold with a silent question in his eyes. I lowered my eyes. It was awkward to ask him to stay after everything we've been through. Could you stay with me? please? Of course. He smiled, switched the lights off, and approached the bed. I got under the covers and put my hand on the pillow, closing my eyes. He lay down behind me, hugged me, and put his chin on top of my head. Sorry, each time we're together, you're either apologizing or thanking me. You don't have to do that. His velvety whisper was calming me down. I felt completely safe in his embrace, as if all the problems of the world were slowly disappearing. I'll tell you a story to help you fall asleep sooner, okay? Yeah. I put my palm in his hand, intertwining our fingers. His content laughter cut through the silence. Adrian kissed the top of my head and moved away slightly so that I was more comfortable to tell the story. Once, Zeus fell in love with a beautiful nymph, one of the entourage of the goddess Artemis. He desired her so strongly that he decided to get her attention, whatever it takes. Sounds like Zeus. Why do I feel like this legend has a bad ending? Because it's Zeus. Why is that? All tales that start with Zeus desires in the same way someone suffers. Thank you! He laughed quietly, pressing me against himself. You know, you might be right about that. So listen. The story was full of jealousy and cruelty, but the longer he was telling it, the more monotonous his voice was becoming. When Adrian finished his story, I was already sound asleep. It's not a good bedtime story. Are they just trying to warn me that Zeus is an asshole and to stay away from him? They didn't have to warn me. Zeus is in the same category as Odin, especially the Odin from, was it? Oh my god. I can't think of the name of the story right now. Oh my god. Hold on. Path of the Valkyrie. Thank you. They're in the same box of this horrible god who's obnoxious and will do anything to get what they want. No matter who they hurt or who they have to trample on, they don't give a fuck. And it's ridiculous. And I hate both of them with an absolute passion. You know what? Who's been added to that? The fictional god. Well, they're both fictional as well. Shefa from Heaven's Secret. All three of those gods. Shefa Malam also works in there too as well. All of them. They're all in the same box. Of, I hate you, I hate your fucking guts. Please die now. And as in fact, the next time I play Heaven's Secret, I'm gonna kill Shefa. Because I can. Yeah. I woke up when the sun hit my eyes. I stretched inside the edge of the bed. There was no one in the room. After a quick shower, I returned to the room and found a bag on my bed. Alright. Probably some better options. Okay. Like that dress. I like parts of that dress. That looks too much like what we've been wearing for so long. We're wearing this one. Huh. You know what? This hairstyle is really cute, but like I just said, I don't want her. I don't like her blonde right now. And it's kind of cute. At the same time, there's parts of it that look weird to me at the same time. Something about this looks like smushed from the backside. Although it is a cute hairstyle in this way. Like certain things just seem off about it. I think what's off about this one the most is the hair color. I just don't like the hair color right now. And I'm vibing this. So, actually, I'm actually gonna go for this one. I made sure everything was ready and went down to the first floor. Moving into the kitchen, I stopped by the door upon noticing Adrian standing by the stove. He hasn't changed one bit. I wonder what was that he's cooking. I smiled slightly, remembering how often I would find him early morning in the kitchen, creating another fine cuisine dish. He's a natural at that. I took a step forward, but froze as I noticed some movement next to him. You shouldn't have let her stay. Corey got up from the table and came close to Adrian. It's my decision. Besides, Hades doesn't mind. Are you doubting her opinion? She licked her tongue disapprovingly, fixing her clothes. Do you even realize the state you're putting us in? It's our fault that... I don't care about that. Your mom lives in the other wing. If you don't like to see her, feel free not to come here. Corey clearly isn't happy about me being in the house. I wonder why. It's their fault that what? That my brother's missing? I'm starting to suspect that. What did I do for her to hate me? I didn't get hate from that vibe. You know what I'm saying? That's not what I got. Because what she said, it's our fault that something. I think she doesn't want us to know certain information. As if she feels like they wronged me instead. Let's continue this and see what else happens. I wish I could go back home. Maybe I should leave for now. I wanted to return to my room, but at the last moment I grazed the base with my hand. Seriously, why do they always write this into books? Like, I guess it's to like force interaction, to force, you know, stuff like that. But like at the same time, it's like, and then when it makes sense for you to retreat from a situation, they force a interaction. But when it doesn't make sense for a person to run away from a situation, they just get away scot-free. Suddenly they're no longer clumsy. Suddenly they can't be found. You know, nobody notices that they were there or anything like that, and then they run away stupidly instead of having a conversation when they should. But like, clearly they didn't want to have this conversation here, so it's like, you know what I mean? Like, I hate that as a point of driving tension to a story. I hate that trope. I really do. It swung threateningly. Even though I managed to catch it and put it back, I couldn't muffle the noise. Melody? Good morning. How did you sleep? Great, thank you. Adrian smiled. Corey frowned upon noticing his smile. Corey smiled nervously and hurried out of the kitchen. What's gotten into her? How much did you hear? Enough. Don't take it personally. She and Hades fought last night, so she's acting up. Have a seat. You'll eat, right? I nodded, walked to the table, and sank into a chair. Today we have an English breakfast. That is delicious looking. Oatmeal with fruit. Hot sandwiches. I need this English breakfast now. Adrian put a plate in front of me and returned to the stove. I started to eat, watching Adrian clean up and hum something to himself. Have you already had breakfast? Yeah, I got up early today and jogged. Speaking of jogging, you remember you have a training today, right? Are you going? Oh, right, she's on the sports team. I gave Adrian's back a questioning stare. He turned to me and leaned onto the table. Damn, training. Everything that's been going on, I forgot about it altogether. I sighed loudly, gathering my thoughts. Don't feel like going? You know, I'm sure the team will understand if you skip one training session. I guess. No, she knows she could stay busy. They're counting on me. I can't fail them. Besides, the competition is drawing closer. Do you remember what I told you about responsibility last night? You don't have to carry it all on your shoulders. I know, and still, if I don't go, the team will treat me differently, I'm sure. If you have your head in the clouds and barely perform the training, no one will praise you for that. Fine, it's your call anyway. I'll go. One way or another, I have a class in an hour. I moved the plate away and looked fixedly at Adrian. Are you ready then? I'll give you a ride to school. Adrian finished cleaning up and left to change. He would greet me by the gates in several minutes. About half an hour later, Adrian dropped me off at the campus. I walked down the alley and saw Theo on a bench. Who? That's the curly hair guy? I was reading a book, but upon noticing me, he put aside and waved at me. I approached the bench, greeted him, and sat down too. Hey, how you doing? I think I'm fine. Why are you sitting here all alone? Because he wants to be. I'm waiting for Jason. We have class in the other building soon. What's up? I have a class as well with Miss Black. Theo gave me a sympathetic look and settled more comfortably on the bench. How many classes do you have with her? Because don't you have to share that class with him? Or is this like the extra credit you're supposed to be doing? I still don't get why she hates you so much. Me neither. It feels like I'm the only one she can't stand from the whole university. So we are in college. If you were in college, there's no way she'd be paying that much attention to you. Unless you made her pay attention to you. Like... And there'll be no basis for you to say this statement either. Like the university life that they're portraying doesn't make any sense. And why were they in the locker room for a high school? It clearly says CCHS on the side of the bleachers. This shit don't make sense. Okay. I don't know about that. She once busted a guy and his girlfriend in a janitor's closet. That was a huge scandal. I think his name is Shane. Such a cool guy. Shane? Hold on, did you say Shane? He was on the same floor as we do in the dorm. He just mentioned some Shane. Could it be him? I was overwhelmed. The key to the mystery seemed so close. So, what about him? What's his room number? What for? Why are you so anxious all of a sudden? I need to talk to him. Nah, no can do. He returned in the evening. Went to see his parents for a week. My shoulders sank as he broke the news. No, not this. Waiting again. He knows Tom. I need to talk to him. First, Miles, now Shane. Does your brother know all the problematic students? He's one of them. I smirked. Tom is one of the most sincere and incredible people I know. He's smart, honest, and he's missing. That struck me like a lightning. I had to call Marshall. Maybe he'll explain his weird conduct? Or should I call Ryder straight away? Theo, excuse me, I need to make a call. He nodded understandingly and picked up his book again. I got up from the bench and took several steps aside. At this point, I feel like I need to get Ryder back involved, like an actual detective, to do like an actual job. Because Marshall, who's supposed to be helping me, just like disappeared for hours and didn't do anything. Despite his assurances that he was going to do everything that he could to help. He's kind of left without explaining anything. I had to make me stay there. Because if you remember, I wanted to leave. But he said, wait right here. I'll be right back when we talk about it. And then he just fucking bails. Like, no text or anything. Like, you really supposed to be doing a job? Like, if you're not going to take that seriously, then... then maybe I should call Ryder instead. I guess I can at least ask why he left like that. But, like, honestly... I don't care what the answer is. I listened to the lone dial tones, but no one picked up. And before I managed to add anything, he hung up. Wow. Can I go back and choose to call Ryder instead? Because he's absolutely useless. He's absolutely useless. I just... I sat and returned to the bench. Theo gave me a questioning look, putting his book away again. What was it this time? Oh, there's Jason. I didn't have time to answer his question. Jason was already approaching us. I looked exhausted. It made me feel guilty. I abandoned everyone at the club last night. Abandoned? You were ushered out. What do you mean abandoned? Hey, Melody, how are you feeling? Not bad. Sorry about nothing. I was tired and I left. What the fuck? I told them to come to the club. It's not like I made plans for them to come. They just decided to ambush me at the club. Don't be. Adrian told me everything. All that matters is that you're fine. Then why does it feel like I am? Theo, are you ready? We've got to go. The class was about to begin. We all, in fact, did have to go. By the way, Melody, I wanted to ask you something. The guy in a gray suit who will talk to you at the club, who is he? I was going to ask you that, but how did you find out? Jason ignored my exclamation impatiently, waiting for an answer. You know what? No. No. I'm sick of people ignoring my questions and asking questions of their own. Like, no, that doesn't make sense. You walked away on a phone call as you kept disappearing time and time again, and then you got mad at me when I wasn't where I was supposed to be. And then now you come back and you're not going to answer my question. So no. So that makes him another person I would not be dating. Thank you for scratching that off right for me. Thank you. That's 2 times you've acted out of character and like an asshole, and I'm done. Okay? Doesn't take much. Okay? It doesn't take much to show me who you really are. Okay? It's in those little moments. You think that's not a big deal. Those little moments make all the difference because you have to deal with those little moments for the rest of your life. Okay? If you marry this person, I'm just saying. He said he knew Tom and that if I needed any help, I could go to him. Huh, I see. Why, do you know him? He seemed to be thinking about something, so he took his time answering. Oh, now it's okay to take your time to find an answer. Oh, really? No, it's okay. I was just surprised. Surprised by what? Why would you be surprised if you don't know him? Alright, we gotta run. See you later, right? We said goodbyes quickly and the guys headed toward the neighboring building. These people are not friends. Once again, they are not friends. And his I love you is shit, okay? It doesn't mean anything. I sat there for several minutes watching them go and then headed to the main building. Classes already started, but I kept walking unhurriedly down the hallway. How many classes do you have with this woman at this college? This is very unusual. My thoughts were all... It's not unusual for you to have 2 classes from the same professor, I suppose. But, like... Something seems off about this. I don't know. It seems to me like if you knew your professor hated you, she can't be the only person who teaches that class. If you knew she hated you from jump. So, I don't know why you didn't switch classes. I'm not going to pay to be in a class with somebody that's failing me on purpose. Okay? But that's why I was hanging up and I couldn't think straight. I still had a few meters to go before I reached this classroom when suddenly I noticed the door to Miss Block's office was wide open. Strange. She's supposed to give a lecture now. Maybe she just forgot to close it? I approached the door and suddenly somebody grabbed me by my wrist and dragged me into the office, covering my mouth with their hand. Unable to figure out what was happening, I stood there confused with my eyes shut. Somebody grabbed you and you stood there with your eyes closed? That's your reaction? I want to hand you and let me go, and someone booped my nose and I cracked my eyes open. What was your plan? Like, to just close your eyes, pretend like nothing was happening, and then hope that it would be over soon? Alright. Find Murphy grinning in front of me. Are you an idiot? Good morning, you too, princess. He took a step back and spread his hands. What are you doing here? Can you tell? Not really. You're not supposed to be here. Neither are you. You dragged me into the room. He laughed, walked deeper into the room, and plunked himself down in the armchair. His gaze went up, stopping at my face. Don't worry, princess. I just can't get the answers for the test. You what? It's a horrible idea. It's a genius idea. What if we get caught? Am I missing out on it? Am I supposed to take a stance on this? Like the decorations in order to get a point in humanity or divinity? I really don't want to say it's genius because it's not. it's not. Cheating is never cool. And what's the point? Really, what's the point? I never understood that. Cheating doesn't make any sense. Why do you even go? Especially, at the point when you get to university, right? You've paid to be here. Someone has paid for you to be here. May not have been you. Somebody has paid for you to be here. What is the point of anyone paying for you to be here if you're going to cheat? Now, if your parents forced you to go to college, then sure, I guess. And if you're so afraid to let them down that you decide to risk getting pulled over by campus police, and failed and probably expelled, you might as well have just flunked yourself out and not have shown up. You might as well have just not shown up to class and just gone on the test day and just pick shit at random. You might as well have just wrote your paper on bullshit. Like, there's no point in cheating. So I'm gonna go with that's a horrible idea. If Miss Flex finds out we stole the answer to her test, we're dead men walking. Literally. I don't see why you're so worried. How's she supposed to find out? We're in her office. I guess she's supposed to be in her room doing the lecture right now, where we should be, maybe. I don't know. Besides, do you really want to cram all night when you have such a great way to take a shortcut? Yes. Actually, and you shouldn't be cramming all night. Like, that's not how you study. That's not how you study. Like, you shouldn't be studying like that. If you are, and that works for you, then great. But you really working your brain overtime and you're stressing yourself out for no reason had you studied properly throughout the week. I'm just saying. That's the way to get yourself burnt out. It really is. Like, I can understand sometimes if you don't have a choice, but these people clearly do. They run around, they're at the club all night. So they don't have an excuse. Sorry. And still, it's wrong. If I were you, I wouldn't stand stock still. The third shelf to the right, a blue folder. I'll check the cabinet. Third shelf to the right, a blue folder. Well, I feel like that's something. Fine. Are you sure you remember that? Third shelf to the right, a blue folder. I push the shelf stand and proceed to check the shelves. What did it say? A blue folder? Third to the right. It was hard to spot a blue folder among 100 others. It was hidden between two bigger folders in a way that you could never guess that was the one with the answers. If you didn't know, of course. Found it. Wonderful. Give it to me. I gave him the folder and watched him take pictures of the answers. Can you wait for another minute? I want to check something. But someone could walk in any moment. I grew up nervous at the thought that anyone could just walk through the door and catch us red-handed. I read the nervous decrease to him in my clothes. Calm down. The more you think about it, the worse it gets. Just give in to the moment. He approached the window and started examining the documents. Like, okay, are we supposed to be okay with this because this Miss Black woman hates us, and so this is supposed to be seen fun and quirky? Because I kind of get the vibes of, you know, the scene where Mia breaks into the bank in what's it? Moonborn. Well, been a while. Okay, I kind of getting vibes. Similar vibes from that, like, you know, like sometimes like, doing mischief cheeky things is fun. I don't know, I guess it's just my stance on cheating. Like, I feel like I'm actually doing something like wrong here, like actually wrong. I know, like, breaking into a bank is actually wrong too. So, like, why does this scene feel different than that scene though? Because I had zero problems with that scene. I had zero qualms about that. I'm guessing it's the way they presented the situation. You know what I mean? Like, you knew it was like a smarmy bank that was purposefully lying about something that was putting not only you out of a job, but the people that you come to know and friends and stuff like that. And the guy who gave you a job, you know, he was a nice guy. And they're trying really hard to do this to these people. Whereas this, we don't have... They say that Miss Black hates us. And she's been kind of snarky, but not so much more than anybody else in this story. And, like, we haven't had that many scenes with her to begin with. For me to be like, okay, yeah, she definitely hates you for no reason at all. Like, I have no... I don't feel the same way. It goes once again to the relationships. Like, I feel disjointed from the characters. Like, I'm not connecting with anyone in this story. I don't know, like, so this seems really smarmy to me. Like, I kind of like Murphy, but at the same time, sometimes I really don't. I don't want you to get in trouble alone. We're in this together. Now, come on, we're not doing anything terrible. Relax. And yet it's wrong. Right and wrong are very relative concepts. We got only here and now. Besides, he turned to me and looked me right in the eye. There are no such things as good or bad decisions. There are only consequences. You can either take them or move on, or... I rolled my eyes every time Murphy would get on a philosophical spree. I felt uneasy. Sometimes he would say something a guy in his early 20s would never say. Okay, but... Suddenly we heard the sound of the door opening. Murphy grabbed me my hand and dragged me into the closet, not losing a beat. Quiet. I know I tried to calm down, but I hardly could. The heavy sound of the high heels dug nails into the coffin of my conscience deeper and deeper. Through the crack I saw was Miss Black. She walked to the armchair and sunk into it slowly, producing a bottle of scotch out of her purse. Drinking in your office? Well, she's in her office. What would the student council say? I guess she shouldn't be drinking on campus. I smirked nervously and immediately got a quiet flick of Murphy's finger on my forehead. Stood in the closet, bent double, trying not to push me out and trying not to reveal our presence. Tried to move a bit, but I only made things worse. Murphy's hot breath burned my face, and his hands held my waist. Princess, I'm not sure now's the right time. As bad luck would have it, Miss Black got up from her seat and started pacing around the office. I felt even hotter. The thought of how close Murphy was to me and that she could open the door and close that damn closet at any moment terrified me. That's what made my cheeks burn. Hang on, I'll move. I can't see a thing. Murphy managed to get his phone out of his pocket and turn the screen on. Even this meager light was enough to see a content smirk on his face and his lips that were so close to mine. How did I ever get into this? Murphy leaned in closer, leaving a light kiss on my lips. And then again and again, more persevering and vehement, until our lungs burned from lack of oxygen. The sound of heels was just next to the closet. Miss Black stopped like a foot away from us. Almost gave us out with a yelp, but Murphy kissed me again, shutting me up. How are we supposed to get out now? We're screwed. Yeah, like I told you about my rating system, this one made me mad. The whole thing with Murphy, I get it, he has the walls, and then he's suddenly vulnerable, but at the same time, it's like, I'm no worse than they are, but then it's like, it goes out of his way to do things. The cheating thing was just like unnecessary. But like, do you always look for the easy way out? Like, that bothers me. It's just, I guess just some of the dialogue there that bother me. Like, they try to make him seem philosophical and smart, like there's no good and bad decisions. Yes, there are. There are. There could be an argument made that there are good and bad decisions. Like, it's like, if you know this decision, if you make a decision, how about this? Let's put it in perspective. Let's give you an example. If you make a decision where you drink, the most basic one you can think of, drinking and then driving. If you know you've been drinking and you're tipsy and you know it's a bad decision to get into a car, you know what's more than likely to happen. Like, it's more likely that you're going to get into a car accident than a plane is going to crash, even though people are more afraid of flying than they are of getting in the car. To me, it doesn't make any sense. It's way more scary to get in a car and get on the road with people, because there are assholes out there who decide to drink and get in a car and drive, which is a terrible decision. That's a terrible decision. Leaving a child in the car by themselves in the heat in the summer is a terrible decision. And you know it's a bad decision going in, because those consequences that you talked about are ones that you don't want to live with. There's no, dealing with it and moving on. And so he said, it was a bad decision because it's a bad decision when you know it's going to give consequences that you don't want to live with. And sometimes, not all the time, you know that going in. So so it is about good and bad decisions. It is. I guess you could say in those instances where you don't know it is, but if it feels wrong, then it's probably a bad decision. Because you already having doubts about whether you can live with this or not. So that means it's probably a bad decision. You see what I'm saying? Because in his mind, I guess he's trying to get me to understand that, everything is not always black and white. There's a gray in between, and sometimes it's okay, that this person is not the best in the world. And I guess he's that's more like a vibe for like deeping into his character. Like, no, I'm not always good. Sometimes I do bad things. But like, there is a difference between being a bad boy and being stupid. And like, cheating on his test rings more to stupid to me than bad boy. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I think that's my problem with that Choices story that we started playing. I need to finish. That Ride or Die, the bad boy romance. That boy, to me, he's not a bad boy. He's just stupid. Okay, so I'm gonna end this part right here. And thank you guys so much for watching. Why is it playing each one of these episodes will take an hour? Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, go ahead and show a like button, some love, subscribe for more content like this, and I will see you next time. Bye.